and Fury fight would be a great fight for AJ. I think AJ's been waiting for this type of opportunity. He's like, that's the fight he wants. And, you could see it in his last fight. He was focused. He threw a nice right hand. And, he protected the boxing fraternity.
And, of course, those are the words of Lennox Lewis. Big up, England. Big up. Lennox Lewis gives a surprising assessment to Anthony Joshua and his performance with Francis Ngannou. And it's refreshing to hear Lennox talk positively about AJ. It's really too far few in between, to be honest, but the critiquing was well. It didn't sound like it was like some haterade or some hatery or some kind of hidden agenda. You know what I mean? It definitely was helpful and appreciative, okay, supportive. And I think Lennox Lewis and AJ had a kind of a rocky relationship since the amateurs. And, you guys, don't know the story of AJ and Lennox Lewis. It was pretty much, like some bitter stuff going on with Lennox, especially about 5 or 6 years ago, but that's a good thing. And I think everyone now is praising AJ because anyone that's a boxing fan, that is a former boxer, that has love for the sport, should appreciate what AJ did. And that's including Lennox Lewis, the Lion, right? And, he even talked about, hey, the great right hand, and he saved the boxing fraternity, basically the boxing world, and even sometimes, even people that are mostly critical most of the time, has and takes a break from that and give you praise, just like we see with Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis, I think he should, continue this, I think he's a little different than Carl Froch. I think Carl Froch has, that always has something with, with Joshua. He always will, I feel. But, Lennox Lewis, I think Lennox Lewis was mostly disappointed because he was rejected by the help of AJ back in the day, and then he started that agenda with, hey, I think AJ needs to come to the States. And he came to the States and he got beat. I think a lot of that was because of what Lennox Lewis said. Like AJ, he has the British public. He doesn't need to come over here. He needs to, he doesn't need that because he has the British fans loving him and all this type of stuff. But, this was good, though. Regardless of that, this was a good assessment. And it just shows you the impact one fight can do. Now, normally, this is what I expected to hear from Lennox Lewis. Oh, well, he was supposed to do what he did, and he did that, I don't know what you're talking about, Larry, but I think he definitely should have done exactly what he did, and I don't see what the big problem is in everybody praising AJ, because AJ was a boxer. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. Right? That's something that you would expect to hear from Lennox Lewis, not this. That's why it was refreshing, because it's like, okay, this is different. You know what I mean? And it just shows you that, hey, even the people that are more critical of you are always paying attention. And in fact, the people that are more critical of you, they're going to pay more attention to you, with a magnifying glass, in fact, you know what I'm saying? Simply because it's like, hey, this is what it is. I think that Anthony Joshua did a service to boxing because, what put boxing in turmoil was Tyson Fury. So you have to look at where he came from, what he did when he got here, and where he is now. You know what I mean? So those are two different extremes. He walked away from Tyson Fury in that fight with his head held high versus leaving the AJ fight with his head hung low, okay? Because you could tell he was very, very disappointed, sad. Even that's how he explained it, So, it just shows you that people are paying attention to what people do, and the way he did it. You know what I mean? It's like you couldn't say one bad thing about AJ in that fight. You couldn't. You know what I mean? Normally, like last year, the first couple, oh man, he looked timid. He won, but oh man, he did a pretty good job, but you know what I mean? So this fight here, you couldn't say anything negative about his performance. You know what I mean? And even Lennox Lewis couldn't say anything. He just, only gave him praise. And I think that's where it should stay. And I think maybe one day they may come together and face to face and shake hands without, that animosity or that side eye. You know what I'm saying? But I thought it was good coming from Lennox Lewis. You guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis praising AJ for knocking out Francis Ngannou. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!